Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everybody. How are you? How are you? I am so dark. Let's see what oracles are going to be. Hello, AJ. Let's see what oracles are going to pop out today. Euphoria. Okay, we got two oracles. We got the card for the year. And we're going to wait to see if more people sign up, if more people join. I'm a little late because why not? I'm always a little late. And seven? What do you mean seven? Is it seven the card of the year? No, it's actually a nine. It adds to a nine, and or at least how I've been doing them every year. It's adds to number nine. The card of the year today. So if you all saw my posts on Instagram and on Facebook, you know I've been crying all day. Our little Uno passed away this morning, and it has been very rough. It has been a very rough day. However, um, I promised you we were going to do this, so we're going to do it. Hello, Cindy Swims. So yeah, it's been rough. My little Uno's gone, and I almost didn't do the video because I was like, I'm gonna be crying. This is not the spirit we want to bring to the new year, etc., etc. But then I'm like, life goes on. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you, Rosa, and thank you to everyone who has donated for Uno's care. If you feel inclined to help us with, you know, 1500 was the last week. Venmo at Blue Witch, Cash App, $zero Blue Witch 1 or Zelle, bluewitch at bluewitch.org. And with that, I am trying to move into the matters at hand. Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Rosa. Yes, may he rest in peace, little one. He went very quickly. I didn't know how quick it is. When they do it. Hi, Casada and Gabby. Hello. And so anyway, we're going to talk about the card of the year for today, and we are also going to pull a couple of oracle cards for everybody, and we're going to do a little trivia, to see who wins some prize, something, something. I think I'm going to give out one prize, and that will be a 12-month reading, and we will do it towards the end of our gathering today. So anyway, we do this card of the year every year. We've been doing it since 2018, I think. And this year, 2025, it adds to number 9. So what I do to figure out which card is very simple, add in 2025, and that adds to number 9. And so that give us for this year, for 2025, dun, 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 the card will be the card of the Hermit. And the Hermit has a lot of good messages for us for the new year. I think we're gonna feel a little lonely. I think there's gonna be a little bit of a solitude happening. So remember, solitude and loneliness are two different things, right? The the card of the Hermit. First of all, this is the most famous tarot card ever. If you are a Gen Xer or older, um, this one is obviously a reminder of Led Zeppelin's album. And if you're not a Gen Xer or older, but you have good taste in music because your parents did good job, then you know that this is one of the most famous cards out there. Thank you, Rosa. Rosa says, let us all help Reverend Laura in this hard time. She's an amazing woman and donates her time to us. You're reading tarot, please help and thank you. Thank you, Rosa. Rosa being the first one who has donated for the Uno fund. Anyway, the Hermit, famous card, famous image, very well known all over rock and roll era, and very intriguing, right? There is also a movie. I can't remember what the movie is called, but it's also, you know, Led Zeppelin, and they actually have a person playing the Hermit, and it appears in the movie. Haven't seen the movie, but I know it's one of the most famous cards out there. And Euphoria says the Hermit is my birth card in the Gregorian calendar. So number nine, number nine, like John Lennon said. And first of all, a number nine, well, is number of the goddess or the divine feminine or three times three. And it's a very blessed number. And we have the Hermit, so we have to look at the card and see what the card is telling us. And the first thing that the card is telling us is we have a little bit of a dark, gloomy background. Simply Cookie and Sarah Lord, welcome, welcome, welcome. So this gloomy-ish background, this night sky kind of, we don't see clouds on the sky, but we see that it's a dark sky. And that darkness is already implying some kind of darkness, occult symbolism of being in the shadow, being in the dark, being secluded. The second clue or the second symbol that we see is obviously the person that is the hermit. Happens to be an old person with a beard, happens to be, well, presented masculine, a man, um, or a person with a beard, whatever. I don't make the rules. And that usually, hi Richard, welcome, welcome, welcome. So that white beard is making an allegory, is reminding us of white-haired person, an elder person with their white hair that symbolizes in most cultures is a wise person, is an old person, is a person that has lived through a lot of stuff and has survived. So it's a person that is going to carry wisdom. The next symbol that we see in the card is the cloak, right? He's got this big old cloak that a lot of us would like to have. And it is very magical. It almost reminds us of Merlin, the wizard or the magician. And that cloak that is feels heavy, feels very protective. It really is concealing everything that is under it, right? So we don't see what this hermit is wearing underneath it because that is a thick layer of clothing that is separating him from the outside influences. Let's not forget that the bottom of the card is showing snow, and it could be the top of a mountain. Hermits regularly on Asian cultures more, I think that's where we have more this idea of the hermit, right? In Asian cultures with the people going to the mountains and living on the cave and staying away from everything and everyone. And that happens on cold mountains. So we're talking about extreme isolation and solitude. Rosa says, I'm wearing a cloak right now. Uh, so this isolation, this being withdrawn from society, from external influences, obviously, it's always gonna emulate this activity of introspection. And I was telling you earlier that the big difference, hello, Swan Ferraro, welcome. The big difference between being lonely and being in solitude is that when we are lonely, we don't feel accompanied by ourselves. We feel that there's nothing and no one, that there is no value, and that we depend on external influences, people, places, and situations to be fulfilled. And when we are in solitude, which is a chosen state, is because we are so fulfilled within ourselves that we don't need all these external influences to come and what is the word? Stimulate us to feel alive, you know. Um, so the card is talking about solitude, and more than anything, it's talking about reflection. In ancient cultures, like I was saying, in ancient cultures mostly, I mean, the Australian people do the oh, what is this called? The pilgrimage. It's not a pilgrimage. They call it something else. When young people go and they walk on the wild and by themselves, and in this exercise or getting to know themselves. And we also have it on native indigenous cultures here in the United States and America, the continent. I'm talking every time, you all know, but I have to repeat it. When I say America, I'm talking about the continent. If I'm talking about the country, I'll say the proper name, which is USA. Mm. When you all say America, referring to the United States, you erase the rest of the continent, and it's very colonizing. So let's not do that. But I digress. In America, we also have indigenous cultures in which people go into these vision quests. And even though it's not exactly the same concept as being a hermit, it is very close in the fact that one requires these moments of quiet solitude and reflection so that one can find themselves. A retreat, yes, absolutely. But the Australian Aboriginal people have a very specific name for this type of quest. And I can't, it's just on top of my head, but I can't remember it right now. And it's a very specific name. So it is kind of a coming of age. It's a coming of age, and it's a coming to yourself and to getting to know yourself and to start gaining that wisdom, right? And there are two more symbols on the card that we're not gonna uh, ignore. The first one is the staff, and the staff is there to provide balance. The staff will be a symbolic representation of the balance that we need within us to be grounded, to always have something to hold on to, be very present. Right now, people talk about mindfulness, right? That's the buzzword now for being balanced is mindfulness. Be mindful. I will say more than anything, be conscious. Being conscious of who you are and knowing who you are, knowing where you stand, and knowing that you always have something to lean on. And in this case, the staff could be representing any kind of faith or conviction or belief system, right? Or ethics and morality, right? Whatever code, whatever behavior, whatever spiritual, mostly spiritual um, tradition that helps you stay put and be supported. That's what the staff is representing. And the last symbol right here, which is the light, the lantern. And a lot of people don't pay attention to the lantern, but there is a star inside the lantern. It is not a candle, right? Most of us will think, oh yeah, he's carrying a candle on that staff. But the truth of the matter is not a candle, it's a star. And that star definitely is representative of the divine, Divine as one, divine as many, divine as God, divine as Goddess, divine as whatever name, divine as the universe, divine as literally the stars. Whichever it is for you, the representative of the divine is the light that is being held by the hermit. But this is a light that people find when they go into these retreats, when they go into these retrospections, when we go into these quests, we find this light, and is the internal light, is that uh, God particle, God. This is for 2025, Swan. This is for the next year, for 2025. So for people that just tune in, let me rephrase a little bit of what happened at the beginning. Um, the card for the year is for the year 2025. It happens to be the Hermit. And how I figured it out is I just add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5, which in this case it will be 9. And it is the card for the year. Like last year it was 8, so it was the card of strength. And then the year before that was 7, which was the Chariot, and so on and so forth. And there are 2 cards. So don't think it's just the Hermit and that's it. There are 2 cards. So there is a companion card that is a secret. And I'm going to tell you a lot about the companion card as well, and how you can work with both of them, and how you can work when they eclipse, because they're not always going to be right side up. The cards are also going to eclipse. At one point, our cards might reverse, and it's just part of life. It's just part of life. It's life is not always right side up. The cards are not always right side up. Hi, Interstellar Mirror Dweller. That is a long name. And I just want to take a break to say thank you to all of you. You all have been very supportive. As you know, for those who have been paying attention, they have my Facebook or Instagram. My baby Uno passed away this morning. We had to take him to the vet, and he was really struggling last night. And he just kept telling us it was time. His little eyes were just saying, it's time, it's time, it's time. So we're heartbroken. We had to take him this morning. I feel horrible, but I have a commitment with you all to do this video today, so here I am. And that's why I'm not my cheery self. I'm not feeling well, as you can see. I've been crying all day. But life goes on. Thank you, Richard. Hello, marvelously Marissa. So, um, thank you all for your support. And like I was telling Rosa was telling you all, and I've been telling you all, if you want to help us with um, donations, either because you like this video today and you want to donate, or because you um, want to help with Uno's expenses. The last week alone, we spent $1,500 that we don't have, so we had to pay the credit card. Um, Thank you, Quesada. Yeah, he didn't suffer as much. Let me put it this way. I think he struggled. They assure me he was not in pain, but he was very uncomfortable for the last 9 hours, and that's when we decided it's time. And he just keeps on. You know what he did? You know what this doggy did? I can't believe this doggy. He was amazing. He sat by the door, and he sat by the door, and he was just looking at the doorknob, and he was just like, when are we leaving? Because he knew. Anyway, the hermit. We're talking again, we're talking about solitude, we're talking about introspection, we're talking about uh, crawling into your own skin and being withdrawn from all the stimulation from the outside, because it's not always um, on time, necessary, is not always something that we need. There are moments in which we need that introspection, being withdrawn, being on a retreat, being on ourselves, and finding the balance and the support on our faith and on the divine. And that's why people who do the hermits, that's why people who do these retreats, this vision quests, etc., they all find this enlightenment, this illumination from the divine. They find messages and connections with divinity because it happens, or so they say it happens, when we are quiet and within ourselves. And I was telling you, right, the buzzword for now is mindfulness. People describe this as a mindful experience. Back in the day when I was growing up, it was consciousness. And for some other people, it's just being centered and being in the moment. So call it what you will, but that is what the staff and the light of the hermit will be representing, is that enlightenment. And to be honest with y'all, hi Pinky, Pink Frijoles, Pink Frijoles. Um, it has to happen that when you are in solitude and you are just in contact with nature and you are just mindfully existing without any external influences that can overstimulate you, you are going to find some kind of enlightenment, because the divine force, the tonal, the energy, the chi, whatever it is that you call it, is always within us. But we kind of lose touch with it because there's a lot of noise and stimulation outside. So, with that said, um, I swore that I was going to do a 30-minute video, and we're also already on the 22-minute video. Thank you for the people who already sent donations. I can see on my phone real time when donations are coming in. So thank you all for donating. Whether if you like my work, whether you want to help us with Uno's fundraising, or it's not a fundraising, but we have to pay the bill. Uh, or whether you just want to send a little gift to myself for all the work that we've been doing the whole year. How do I donate for Uno? You can do through Venmo at Blue Witch, or you can do Cash App, $0 Blue Witch 1, or you can do Zelle, bluewitch at bluewitch.org, or you can do it Zelle with my phone number, 630-506-1758. Now, if you have my other Venmo, the Lau underscore Cerati, you can also send through that Venmo. Hello, ojos de miel. So, gift, no? Let's do a gift. Should we do an oracle card? So, the first person who tells me, I have two more pets. I do have two more pets. Do you know their names? I'm gonna make it very easy. Do you know what they are? They are not a dog, they are not a cat. So can you tell me what my other two pets are? And if you are the first person, whether on Insta or Facebook, the first person that tells me what my other pets are, we're gonna pull an tarot card for you. I have two more pets. No, they're not birds. They can eat birds, but they're not birds. Tell me a snake and a turtle. That is Seran Lord with the answer. The snake is Chucho, and the tortoise is Chucho is the snake, and Ralphie is the tortoise. You were hiding a third pet on me. Yes, my snake. A snake and a tortoise. And at one point we had chameleons, but our chameleons passed away because chameleons are really hard to breed in the Chicago weather. Sorry, Facebook, you came a little late. So I didn't know you were a reptile fan. Yes, I have a snake, Chucho the snake, whom is 24 years, and I have a tortoise who is 11 years. The tortoise and Uno, so Ralphie the tortoise and Uno the dog were about the same age, 11 years old. All right, Romy, this card is for you. So Romy, bring your question to your mind. And I know Romy, and I know Romy will share with y'all. But this card is for Romy. So let's see what the universe has to say for Romy. Watching Romy gets the Hermit. It's a very similar card to the Hermit, but it's not the Hermit itself. It's a card, Romy. So I don't know what all you're cutting out of your life, or you might be releasing something from your life. Rosa says Chucha loves to bite. He bit me this year. He bit me here, and then he left me a little piece of fang on my hand, which I eventually took out. But I promise you, it's like an eighth of an inch long fan that I had on my hand for a couple of weeks after he bit me. Romy, you have the Five of Cups. I'm gonna pull a second card for you, Romy, because this might actually came out for me because I'm grieving. This is a card of grieving. This is a card of we're letting go of something, and we might be sad or suffering or crying, and we don't have the enough um, consciousness to turn around and to see what we still have left. So Romy, unless you tell me this doesn't fit your life completely right now, I don't know if you're letting go of something and that's why you're feeling some kind of sorrow and sadness and grief. Uh, but I want to pull a second card because I might have influenced this since I am grieving. Hello, wee papa. All right, please give us a card for Romy. Now, if we get again the same card, or if we get the Hermit Romy, then this was for you. Let's see what the second card is. And of course, like I was saying, I'm sure Romy will share their card with you guys. And yeah, there's no grief, says Romy. It might not be grief, but it definitely is a card of inactivity. So you got the King of Wands reversed. So Romy, the King of Wands is usually a card that is talking about movement and taking the initiative, creating, doing something, being very passionate and fiery and moving through that fire. And right now the King is reversed. So it's not necessarily grief, but it is indeed inactivity. It is talking about taking things very slow and, kind of like biding your time, not rushing into things, that kind of thing. And for all of you that might be borrowing from Romy's card, take what you will. You might take the one that was talking about grief, or you might take the one that is talking about inactivity. We're gonna pull an oracle card. This is for everybody. I pull out the Elemental Oracle by Stacy DeMarco, and we're gonna pull an oracle card from there. We're still gonna talk about the card of the year. We have the complementary card. Remember I told you there's a complementary tarot card? So if you're in Chicago in April, I'm gonna do a workshop about tarot. It's gonna be called The Hero's Journey, and we're gonna go deep into the major arcana. We're gonna do some divination exercises, and we're gonna do a comparative with the Aztec tarot. The Mexica tarot, I should say. It's Mexican, it's not Aztec. So that's going to be interesting. That happens on February. Let's see what this oracle card is saying for all of us. And is the card of the sun. Of course, we just have a solstice. The axial tilt is the reason for the season. How do you pronounce that word? Axial. I always say axial, but it's axial. I don't know. Axial. How do you pronounce that word? It has to do with the axis. Axis? Axial? I don't know. So the card of the sun is talking about light. Be grateful for what you have right now. Every day brings new possibilities and opportunities. Concentrate on building your vitality and health. And shine a strong light upon the dark corners. Honesty and transparency are vital at this time. Axial. Thank you, Kim. So the axial tilt is the reason for the season. There you go. Hello, PM Fueler and Kim Hu. So the sun is talking about light. Be grateful for what you have right now. Every day brings new possibilities and opportunities. Concentrate on building your vitality and health. Shine a strong light upon the dark corners. Honesty and transparency are vital at this time. So that is the message from the Oracle. And talking about building your health and setting yourself for a new year, for the love of God, don't let fat phobia push you into, I'm gonna lose 20 million pounds in 2025. That is a fat phobic, unattainable BS that society is telling us that we must do. If you want to do goals versus resolutions, this is my opinion, okay? This is my opinion. I'm not trying to put my opinion on you. This is my opinion. Listen to it, throw it on the garbage. You do you, boo. But I believe that when people do resolutions, they're setting themselves for failure because it's almost impossible to keep a resolution for a whole year. I do have goals that are very attainable. Hello, Kevin. And for 2 years in a row, and very soon to be for 3 years, because I'm going to continue this goal on 2025. I have two goals in life. Um, the first one is I am going to live unapologetically. So, no apologizing unless I have done something terrible and I am taking accountability for the terrible thing that I did, then I will apologize. Otherwise, I am not apologizing for existing. So I'm going to live unapologetically. You can borrow that one because that's very easy. Just being yourself is very hard, but it's very easy at the same time. The second goal that I set up for myself last year, and I actually lived through to see it through, and is now my new goal for 2025. And this one will liberate you, my friends. Not every email has to be answered immediately. You can receive an email and you can sit with that information for a couple hours or a couple of days. And then when you're good and ready to answer the email, then you go and answer it. This culture of immediacy that we live through um, brings a lot of pressure on all of us. Mm. Hello, tortas de papa. Marvelously Marisa says, be yourself, everyone else is taken. And Forrest says, yo, that's a good resolution. Yeah, I saw through it on 2024 and it has been very, very helpful, especially because I tend to be very anxious. I have high moments of social anxiety and then my responsibility anxiety, tends to be high. So instead of trying to solve everything very quickly, when an email comes through, I'm like, I will glance at it. And if it's not something that is time sensitive, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit with this information. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to see if I have to answer it. And now that Blue Witch is a team and Andrea is taking care of most of my correspondence, I actually get to sit on the information and then ask Andrea, hey, can you please draft an email for this, that, and the other? And then she will answer the emails. So it's also a boundary, I think. It's also a boundary. So back to the card of the day. So for those whom are just joining us, the card of the day is the Hermit. And the Hermit is talking mainly about introspection, reflection, being withdrawn from very high stimulating relationships, and is more about building that relationship with yourself. And in return, when you build that relationship in solitude with yourself, you find the light of the divine within you, and you find a stronger relationship with your faith. Oh, Marisa, thank you. I really needed that answer. This answer has a background. So I have to tell you the background. Back in the day, 1800, Marisa sent me an email about her wedding, and I didn't reply to the email because it just fell through the cracks, and I was gonna reply and I didn't. And Marisa and her now husband, Jason, went and found me at an event, and that's when they hired me to officiate their wedding. So that's the background. So Marisa says, and if they want your answer bad enough, they might just find you and show up at an event. I read a book by I read a book by a white Sarah says, I read a book by a white male CEO who put in this footer. I read reply to emails 9 to 9:30 a.m. or 1 to 1:30 p.m. In more urgent calls, I will do my best to reply within 48 hours. This helped me so much. Yes, white male CEO, but still help me. That was a goal I had, but I didn't take me from this time last year until September to clean up the pages. I also downsize on my social media, as you might have noticed. The real heifer. It's been forever. How are you, honey? Okay, so the card of the year is the Hermit. We're being called to do introspection, to find the light, to find our faith, to find our center, to be well grounded, and to be with ourselves, and to be very happy and content with being ourselves, by ourselves, on our own. The companion card, dun, 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 is the card of the moon. So the moon is a card that is also talking about intuition. So there are two different things, right? One is introspection and the other one is intuition. Think about that moment where you're gonna turn left because you always turn left, and something tells you just keep going, and then you find out the next day that if you would have turned left, you would have found a car accident and traffic, and there was something on the ether, there was something on the universe that told you don't go on the left side. And that intuition, that cosmic connection, that collective unconsciousness, if you will, is represented by the card of the moon. I want to remind y'all also that I was laughing because Richard said, that's a big card. Yes, I have a collection of very big prints. I'm gonna I'm gonna show you my collection. It's all the major arcana. It's all of the major arcana because I use them to teach. When I teach tarot, this come out, and when I teach tarot as a healing tool. But since I'm gonna do this workshop that I'm telling you for April, I'm also gonna use them. So going back to the cards. Now we're talking about the card of the moon. So we have a lot of symbology here on the moon. The first thing we have, obviously, is the moon, right here. The moon. And the moon is dark with their eyes closed, her eyes closed, their eyes closed, and is very similar to the hermit who also has his eyes closed, right? So there we have a correlation. Forrest says there should be a brand of tarot called Big Ass Tarot, named after the big ass fans in Seattle. Oh my goodness. I was trying to find prints for the tarot, like a large print tarot, and I couldn't. So I made this. I printed them. So eyes closed, a sure sign of introspection, right? When I close my eyes, I'm not being influenced by or stimulated by what is happening outside, and that forces gently a connection with myself inside. It makes me feel that I'm connected with myself because I'm closing the room to anything else and everything else. Then the card of the moon has this night creatures. We have a coyote. It's not coyote, it's coyote. Coyote. We have a coyote. We have a coyote. We have a dog. And we have a crab. No, this is not a lobster. It's a sweet water crab. And these are all night creatures, and they are creatures that can see in the darkness. They are creatures that are heavily influenced by the moon and the cycles of the moon and the darkness of the moon. And we even see the two canine compadres over here. We have the dog and the coyote howling at the moon because the dogs get stimulated. And the very instinctive and also intuitive behavior of the creatures to be, yes, stimulated by the changes of the moon, but that stimulation is so soft and so subtle that it's talking about um, intuition and cosmic consciousness and that connection that we have with the subtle parts of ourselves, right? Know what is in front of us because, again, we are constantly receiving information through our senses. But when we close our eyes and we close our, cover our ears and we sit on silence and we are just looking at the moon, there's something very primal about the moon. Thank you, Richard. He says that was a great idea for teaching. I think so, and I'm glad I remember, so I could bring him out today. And the other thing with the moon, which is very important information for us, especially since we're trying to dismantle patriarchy and do away with all that bullshit. Did I just say that out loud? Yes, I did. Is that we decolonize and demythify and patriarchalize the card of the moon, because any and every booklet on tarot that you pick up talking about the moon is going to describe the moon as occult, negative, a bad omen, feminine, dark, mysterious. Um, we can see it. It could be deceiving. Is the dark side of the moon. Is the things that we don't see. Why is everything that has to do with darkness, the occult, femininity, and mysteries has to be deemed demonic and not divine, but rather evil? Well, could it be because patriarchal society is telling you that everything that is feminine and occult and intuitive is demonic because it's not convenient for the status quo? Exactly. Um, this intuition, this cosmic intuition, this connection or animalistic self is not convenient for capitalism, is not convenient for the status quo, is not convenient for patriarchal societies. So that's why every other tarot, remember, most of the books were written 100 years ago, will talk about the moon as demonic. Ooh, Forrest shares with us. One freezing night in the middle of St. Paul, I held my crystal wand to the full moon. I wasn't prepared to cry. And Richard says, I never fit in with the status quo. I'm very fortunate. Yes, you are, my friend. I was thinking earlier, on how um, family of origin can make you feel so lonely sometimes, and or status quo can make you feel so lonely sometimes, and then you go immediately back to like, I got the right people around me. You are my people. All right. So we said we were going to talk about these cards when they eclipse. Hello, Edwards Miller. Oh, Fade Edwards Miller. Oh my goodness, I know who you are. Edwards Miller. It took me a minute. So, what do we do when they eclipse? Because they eclipse, my dear friends, life is not all peaches and cream, right? There are times, now I cannot fit on the image because the cards are so big. There are times when our tarot cards are reversed, right? And that is not a good thing. That is not a bad thing. Please repeat after me. They are not bad cards. Life is life, and life is going to be lifing. And sometimes these cards, they will reverse, right? They will show us the eclipse side or the eclipse meaning. So the eclipse meaning of the Hermit could be when we become so secluded that now is becoming um, a little bit of an antisocial situation. The total eclipse of the heart. They eclipse, they turn around, and then on the Hermit, that eclipsing of the energy of the card could be that we become so secluded that we're isolating ourselves, and this isolation is becoming harmful, right? If we don't reach out for help, if we don't reach out to go through life, good, bad, and in between experiences, if we are not um, prepared to be vulnerable and to reach out for people, then that isolation becomes harmful. The other way that it could eclipse is us oversharing, us not having good boundaries, us depending too much emotionally and spiritually from the outside influences. The large card draws my attention to the two structures on the sides of the moon card, reminding me of the gate. The moon as a gateway. It's definitely a gate. These pillars that are present on a number of cards, the Tower, Temperance, the High Priestess, and the Moon have the pillars, and they are definitely speaking of a gateway. And so when the Hermit eclipses, when the Hermit reverses, we ought to be very conscious of trying to bring it back right side up, because it's either a harmful isolation or a moment of not enough boundaries, oversharing, overcompensating, uh, being off center, and by such, probably bringing the wrong people or the wrong situations into our life. So, you always want to have that card right side up. Of course, there are moments when cards come reverse and they are being meant as this is the healing, this is the medicine that you need. Not too long ago, I had a reading. I think, Sarah, I was with you where we had some reverse cards that they were talking about the healing. That was the part of the healing. Um, so the next card, when it reverses, right, the moon, it's very similar, obviously, because these are like complementary cards. And when the moon reverses itself, is like, um, are we making these boundaries, these pillars, exactly that you were talking about, Kim, too thick? Are we isolating ourselves? Are we not feeling our feelings? Are we not allowing our emotions to take their proper place? You know, I would have been a hypocrite. I would have been the moon reverse if I come to you like, hey guys, everything is hunky dory, when you all know I'm grieving my doggy. So, feeling our feelings, even when they are so dense and so heavy, help us keep a very pleasant and helpful relationship with the archetype of the moon. But if we are denying ourselves, if we are denying our emotions, remember that whack-a-mole of repressing emotions, when you repress one, you crippled all of your emotions. You make them, I don't want to use the word cripple. Mm, what is the word? Atrophy. Atrophy. When you repress one emotion, you bring atrophy to all of your emotions. So we don't want to do this moon reverse. We don't want to deny our emotions, because our emotions are here to show us and to tell us things that are important, right? So they share this important information. And also, we don't want to overshare, right? Which is a commonality of these two when they are reversed, is like we're oversharing, we don't have boundaries, we're being too um, loose with our information, and that works against us. That is not working for us. All right, folks. This is the question for the number one prize. The number one prize person is going to get a 12-month reading for 2025. The number one prize person is going to get a 12-month reading for 2025. And the question is, Blue Witch has become a team. Listen, don't answer yet. Blue Witch has become a team. Laura Gonzalez, the Blue Witch, um, a business manager, and a personal assistant. If you give me the names of both my business manager and my personal assistant, you win the 12-month tarot card reading. We will have to convene and find a day, and all do the old things. Thank you for enlarging the cards. They look wonderful. Thank you guys for watching. We're gonna pull one last oracle card, but I'm waiting for the answer of the question on the Blue Witch team. What are the names of the other two people whom are on my team? The team is a team of 3 people. One of them is me, Laura Gonzalez. The other one is the manager. Um, I can't remember. A business manager. And the other one is my personal assistant. And then Richard already gave out half of the answer. If you are on Instagram, you can see the half of the answer, which is Andrea. But there is a personal assistant. They exist. They are part of the team. Do 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 do. I'm gonna pull the oracle card, and this is the card from the Gospel of Aradia. Peacemaking is the card. Peacemaking. So find the other half of the answer. One is Andrea. What is the other one? She's my personal assistant and my personal cheerleader, and a really good friend, by the way. Peacemaking. Peacemaking. Peace comes from within. Do not rely upon others or outside influences for permission to be peaceful. Never make decisions when you are angry or are experiencing any other intense emotion. Learn how to ground yourself. Forgiveness is something to do for yourself, not for the other person. Some wish deeply for peace to find the middle way. Some may seek reconciliation just as like 6 days. Leilani and Andrea, nope. The name is not Leilani. Sounds a little similar, but it's not Leilani. All right, I was reading this. I'm sorry. Some wish deeply for peace to find the middle way. Some may seek reconciliation just as night seeks day. But others want peace only at their will to win. Extremism binds them. They see peace as a sin. All right, folks. Okay. So, ha. Put it together. Two names together. Two names together. Richard. Richard won. Okay, so we're gonna split it because they came out very, very quickly. Richard and Florence Edwards Miller. Uh, we're gonna do a reading for y'all. Okay, let me think how we do this. Richard. Richard, I'm gonna give you a special prize because you've been very supportive. How about we give you 6 months of Goddess Circles? Will that help you, Richard? So that way I can give uh, Florence, or do you want a FICA reading? FICA reading? No, I say 12-month reading. Okay, let me think. Fuck it. We're going to do two 12-month readings. That's it. Two people say the correct names. Andrea Fernanda is my business manager, and she's the reason we have now a beautiful website and we're doing all kinds of beautiful things online. And Sanil Wikani is my personal assistant, and she assists me incredibly on the live presentations and the live things. So Florence, you and I will have to find a day and a time that works for both of us to do the 12-month reading. And Richard, you get the choice. You can do a 12-month reading or 6 months of the community circles. And Richard, I'm giving you that choice because maybe you want one thing more than the other. So you let me know. And Rosa says congratulations to Richard and Florence. And was it Sandia? No, Sandia is my dear friend, but Sandia is not, I mean, she's my friend, but she's not part of the team. The team is Sanil Wikani or Sani. Sani, no Sandia. Sani, Andrea Fernanda, and myself. Thank you all for watching. Please, please, please have a wonderful 2025. Don't let anything bring you down. Bring that hermit. Okay, Richard, I like that. I knew you was gonna like the doing the community circles better than the reading. Yes! Congratulations, Richard. I know you will like that. That is so beautiful. Please, on 2025, go within if you need to. Go inside if you need to. Um, and bring that hermit energy. Find the light within you. We all gonna need to be walking around with our little lanterns, shining the light within us and then shining the light without. We really are gonna need that on the upcoming year, Gregorian 2025. Thank you all for watching. The only thing that I have left to say is if you um, if you like to send us a donation, you can do so. Venmo, Blue Witch, Cash App, $0 Blue Witch 1. Zelle could be my phone number, 630-506-1758, or Zelle with my email, bluewitch@bluewitch.org. Thank you for making me come to do this. My mood has improved. Um, I will still grieve my little one, but it feels very good to be here with y'all and to be doing this. And please sign up for the newsletter at bluewitch.org. Please hire me for services online or in person. Stay tuned. We're going to have the community circles once a month, every day, every fourth Sunday. We're going to have the Colonizing the Goddess classes on the second Sunday of every month. This year, we're going to start doing non-binary deities or double gender deities and goddesses, obviously, as well. And here we go, year two of the Colonizing the Goddess. And stay tuned for all the in-person workshops. And please know I haven't forgotten about online workshops. Um, we're taking a break right now. The whole team is taking a break, but stay tuned for online workshops. We really are thinking about bringing those because you all are calling that you want them. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you Monday for the coffee break, and until we meet again, never forget that you are loved. Thank you, Janice. We love you too. We love y'all. Thank you for being here. Good night.